Hello everybody, welcome to this video of Copilot in Dynamics 365 Business Central. This video is focused on the sales line suggestions capabilities. And of course, my name is Craig Kreskis. I'm a partner solution architect here at Microsoft. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this video series. As I mentioned, there are a number of different areas which we can highlight available today in Business Central and Copilot. I've got some I'm going to focus on in this video series. I will continue to add to our library so you can learn more about some of the Azure AI and machine learning capabilities, some of the areas that we've had in the product for a number of different releases. But this one is focused on the sales line suggestions. And what I'm going to do, just so you have a visual roadmap, is I'm going to show you 3 ways in which you could highlight to customers and prospects this Copilot experience. The first one will be based on sales invoices. The next one will be where you'll type in your request. And then the third is you'll copy this from an existing email. So let's get started. I'm going to focus on just the first one that's based on invoices. So let's go ahead and open up your Business Central application. You'll click on Sales Quote and start to enter in your quote. We'll do this first one for the first company, Adatum Corp. And again, normally I could just start to type in the header and then in the line items. However, with this release now, you'll notice that we have at the top of the line items section, a suggest sales line items. Now, like I told you in some of the previous videos, we can always provide a prompt guide for end users who are unfamiliar with where to get started. And so you can see here is the prompt guide to get them started. If I want to say, copy the line items from the last invoice, again, of course, I could type that in, go ahead and select enter or generate, and notice it brings up the last invoice for Adatum. So it's a posted sales invoice, and I can select on that to see a little more of the details, or I can close that out. And you'll notice it brought on 10 desks, 3 chairs, and 7 whiteboards. We'll go ahead and edit that by using the pencil icon, and I could type in. So here's an example where I might always have an invoice number I use as my own template for myself. So that invoice 3196, I click on generate, and now notice a couple of things. It obviously gives me a few different suggested sales line items, but also notice this is not from the same customer this time. It's not from Adatum, but from another client. But again, I also know that, again, we use that invoice 3196 very often. So I can use that, I can insert it, and I now have a suggested sales line items. And it reduces the amount of steps it takes to complete a sales order, a sales quote, a sales invoice. Let's take a look at another way in which we can leverage Copilot in the suggested sales line items, and that's to type in your request. Same thing, we'll go ahead and open up a sales quote. I'll go ahead and choose Trey Research, the second line, second customer. I'll suggest the sales line items to bring up Copilot. And from here, as an end user, I could simply just type in what I'm asking the system to perform for me. So if I want to just type in, I need an office desk and 2 blue chairs, I'll go ahead and hit generate. And here you'll see I've got an Athens desk and the London swivel blue chair. And of course, you've got this little peek through, or I can see the preview of it. And then if I want, I can open up that card, and this will show you how Copilot begins the suggestions. So that information that describes products is stored in a couple of different places inside of Business Central. For example, the item number and the descriptions, they're stored in the item table. And then you've got multiple barcodes that can be stored in the item reference table. So if you scroll down, you'll see here inside the attributes table, which is also being pulled and drawn from within Copilot. Also, if you want to search on or just narrow your understanding of where this information is coming from, right by default it says lines only, but if you want to add the confidence, you can see here, this shows 2 pieces of information. The search terms that it used, for example, office desk, chair, blue, but also how high or medium or low that confidence is in the results. And then I can go ahead and insert that. So that's the second way in which you can leverage Copilot inside of data entry for the sales line items. The third and the last one in this video is you get an email from a customer. And in the past, obviously you could leverage the Outlook add-in that's been available. It seamlessly brings data over from within, let's say, for example, an email. But let's show you what that looks like on the sales quote again. This time, I'll grab the third client. This is the School of Fine Art. I'll open up the suggested sales line items, except instead of using the prompt guide or just typing in my question, as I mentioned, I got an email from that customer. And so you could see here, it says, Craig, could you provide us with a quote? I need 2 conference tables, 6 chairs, and 2 lamps. Again, I would normally have to minimize Outlook, open up Business Central, log in, make sure I've got all that information, and then do data entry. With Copilot connected, I can simply Control A or highlight everything, all the text, copy it with Control C, and then return over to Business Central and use my paste function. So you can see here now I have the body of the email. If I scroll down, you can see where it's asking for the 2 tables, the 6 chairs, and the 2 lamps. And I hit generate. And look what happens. Business Central and Copilot, or the Copilot experience inside of Business Central, takes the text from the email and inserts that into the line items for me. So these were 3 examples of how you can see Copilot in a Business Central really shortcutting the data entry and reducing the number of clicks it takes to perform a very simple or common task in an organization. I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this video, Sales Line Suggestions, and I look forward to seeing you on the video again real soon as part of the remaining series in Copilot and Business Central.